Okay, good morning. Welcome. My name is Halia. I am a gold and IATAN card holder, and I have been with Archer and Evolution for about 3.5 years now. Sorry, there's a hole in my blanket on my leg, so I'm trying to get it covered. But I have been with Archer and Evolution for about 3.5 years now, and that whole entire time I have also been working a full-time job. So I have been able to figure out how to balance your full-time job and your travel business in order to still hit your goals. This is a training I've been teaching since like probably 6 months or so into the business. So I've tweaked it every now and then. There is a recording up on my YouTube, but I will also be posting this one as an update. So let's go ahead and get started. There we go. So I kind of want to go over a little bit of what we're going to be, like a little overview of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to go over a quick organization jumpstart. We're going to go over scheduling. We're going to go over prep work, prepping yourself up for success. We're going to go over automations, systems, and self-care because these are all part of how I am able to balance my full-time job while also getting gold, while also booking travel, helping agents, and running for platinum. So the first thing you want to do is organize your life, right? Even if you think it's organized, there's always more organization that can happen, right? So you want to start taking steps to organize your life. The first step that I like to take is I like to do a little brain dump. Now, I actually have mine from this past weekend here because I like to do these every Sunday. That is what I have found has been like the most helpful for me is to do this every Sunday. And what I am doing is I'm literally writing out every single thing that I know. Oh my goodness, my paper. There we go. It's like it's not working. That I know that I need to do for the week. Every task I know that I need to accomplish, anything that I know that I need to get done, whether it is for my full-time job, whether it is for my business, whether it is for cleaning the house, any family stuff, any appointments that I know that I have, anything like that. I make sure that I write it all out on one piece of paper like this. I like physically writing it. You can digitally do it if you want to, whatever works best for you and your brain. But I like to physically write my whole thing out of all the things that I know that I need to get done that week. Once I write it all out, I then will categorize it. So I like color coding, however you want to categorize that. I'm highlighting sometimes. Sometimes I'll show you different things. Sometimes I'm putting little like colored dots next to the tasks. However you want to categorize, again, whatever way works best for you. I then put it into different categories. So I put a little legend as well, so I know what those categories are for that week, because each week it'll change a little bit based off of what I need to accomplish. So this week I was working on team stuff, client stuff, personal stuff, and cleaning. Those are my how I categorized this week's stuff. Once I have it in a category, I then will rank each task in each category from most important to least important. So you guys can see I have different numbers here next to the tasks based off of if they were, how important they were in that category. Once I have that, I then kind of make it a little bit more easier to read and I organize it, right, by the different categories in the order that I just finished ranking it in. I use this to then create my daily to-do lists on my planner. Okay. So this is how I keep track of what I know I need to get done and what I have already accomplished. I will typically, you can see like there's some stuff crossed out on here. I will cross it out on both lists, right? The master to-do list and my daily planner. I like to do little like check marks when something has been completed, like that. And then I'll go and I'll cross it out completely on the master to-do list, is what I like to call it. What I do after I complete a task is I will then go and add another one for the next day. So when I'm making my to-do list every night for the next morning, because part of that is in the, we'll go over later, but it's prepping yourself up for success, right? So when I'm creating my to-do lists, I then will see what I have already completed for this week so far, and I'll start crossing it off so that way I can add the new task and not try to add in a task that I've already completed. So I will literally, let's say I'm going to do this right now. I forgot to cross off that I needed to update this training, right? Because there was some things that I hadn't changed on the slides. So I forgot to cross it off. So I would literally just cross this off right here. And then when I'm creating my to-do list for tomorrow, I would add one more thing from the team section. I need to contact Disney for a booking, so I need to add that to the to-do list tomorrow. I have already created and scheduled content, so I can cross that off, right? I don't need to add that. So it's like just like kind of go through and see, okay, what have I already completed on here? What do I still need to do? And same thing with my daily to-do list. This helps me from getting overwhelmed, right? Because when you have a full-time job and you have your own business that you're running, and you also have just life stuff, right? Like maybe you have kids, maybe you have grandkids, maybe you have nieces and nephews, maybe you're like me and you have two dogs and seven cats. I don't know. Whatever, the life gets a little crazy sometimes. So it's easy to forget tasks that you need to get done. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's just easy to kind of lose track of everything. And this process helps me stay on track of everything, especially in my brain, because I'm clearing up all of that space of like, what do I need to do? Because I know that it's all written here. So I don't have to try to remember all the things that I need to do. And so it helps me think a little bit more creatively for my social media, for my clients. It helps me be a little bit more present in the moment when I am not working, whether I'm not working my full-time job or my business, and I'm just having like time with my family or whatever the case may be. So it really helps me just kind of be more balanced. Oop, there we go. My next big thing is going to be scheduling, you guys. Scheduling is literally my savior. Okay. I always tell people if it's not on my calendar, I can promise you it won't happen because I'm not going to remember. I will forget. Okay. So I always, always, always make sure I have things scheduled and on my calendar. So the first step that I will go and do is start prepping my planner. And if at any time you guys you have questions, please go ahead and let me know, type them in the chat so I can go ahead and answer them. But the first thing that I do every single month is prep my planner. So I get these, they're like called Bloom planners. I can put the link in the, what is it called? In the recording. I get them on Amazon, but they're called Bloom planners, and I'll show you guys some other like little cool things that they have later. But I go in and I'll add any my work schedule. My work schedule is pretty consistent, so I know what days I'm working. So I'll go in and I'll add my work schedule. Then I'll add any like if I have any doctor's appointments, any dinners. Like last night I had a dinner scheduled with one of my childhood best friends that we schedule every few months. So that one was already in the calendar. So I put it in here too, right? Any dinners or meetings or whatever the case may be. Once I get all like the personal stuff done or the work stuff done, I then will add my business. So I'll add in any trainings I want to attend. I'm team building, so I add in the prospect presentations as well. So I know just when they are. I add in any one-on-one time that I have set aside for my agents, any trainings I'm hosting. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. I'll add in like birthdays, things like that. Just, anything you need to know for a calendar, any consultations or proposals that I have pre-scheduled, anything like that. Due dates for bills, I add in all the things on here. Okay. This is literally my life. Okay. So I'll add in all of those, all right? When it comes to the trainings that you want to attend, you guys can see the monthly calendar on Facebook. Do you guys all know where that is? The monthly calendar, not the weekly schedule. Excuse me, the monthly calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. So you guys can look at that. That should be posted on the first of every month so you can plan out your whole entire month. Once I have everything in my planner on this part, I then will start putting it in. I'm going to go to a week that's clean. I then start putting everything in the weekly part. So I like to separate this whole part. It doesn't come like this. I add in meetings, my to-do list, and then I draw a line, not a very good line, but I draw a line just to mark the difference. And I add in any meetings that are going on that day that are tentatively scheduled or are for sure scheduled like that. Then I have space to do my to-do list. And so once I have them in my physical planner, I will start adding them into my Google Calendar, which I actually want to show you guys. There we go, if it lets me. Okay, now I'm gonna preface this. I actually probably should have prefaced this before it opened, but don't get overwhelmed. All right, there's a lot going on here. But everything's color coded, so I know what everything is. This is going to be my girlfriend's schedule. So when she's working, um, I'm actually working out later, so I can delete this. Then I have a training that I'm hosting, right? I have one-on-one scheduled time for agents. So if anybody wants to schedule a one-on-one, these are the times, anything in orange are the times that I have set aside already. Anything that is my personal stuff, so working out, therapy, right, whatever the case may be. Um, red is trainings I'm hosting. This is the prospect presentations. Purple is, or dark purple is going to be trainings I want to attend, right? All these different things. Pink is any tasks. So any like recurring tasks that I need like reminders for, which pretty much are everything. But when it comes to like everyday tasks, like what time to post onto Facebook, what time to follow up with any links I send out, what time to do, I actually have to change this time because I did this earlier, but what time to do my any job boards that I have or Craigslist resumes, post to Facebook again, like anything that's kind of time sensitive, I'll put in here just to remind me to do at that certain time, right? Okay, and then my work, right? My full-time job schedule, anything like that. So I schedule everything out. I have it all out here. A lot of my stuff is just recurring, so it's already on there, and I'll go in and make different edits for anything that needs to be changed. But one thing I love the most about this Google Calendar is that I can add in these different trainings, right? I'll get notifications directly to my phone. So that way, when I am out and about, whether I'm at work, whether I'm running errands, or whatever the case may be, I have that notification going to my phone. I 99% of the time have my AirPods on me. So I can put my AirPods in and I can listen at the very minimum to the training while I'm doing whatever it is I need to do, right? And then from there, I can go back and watch the recording or whatever the case may be. So I'm not only physically writing these things down, but I'm also putting them into my digital calendar. So that way I'm getting the notifications and I'm getting reminded, okay? Because again, life it can move fast. We all got a lot going on, and it's easy to let something slip or forget. Now, do I always remember everything? No. There, even with all of these steps, sometimes I slip and forget, and it's okay. But because of the steps and the systems that no, thank you. Because of the steps and the systems that I have put in place, my chances of forgetting things are much smaller than before, okay? The next thing I did when I first started and when I switched jobs when I moved back to California was I wrote out my daily schedule. Now, this doesn't need to be done as frequently as like the brain dump. This is more of like if there's a change in your typical schedule, your work schedule, right? That's when you do this. So I literally, when I first started, was as detailed as possible. I also actually have a time tracker that I send my agents that Sarah had used with me and some other agents during her last mastermind that I've been using with my agents when I give them this homework. So what I tell them to do and what I have done is be as detailed as possible. This time tracker is set in 30 minutes. When I first did this, I literally was writing everything by like how long it took me to complete whatever task I was doing, whether it was for my work, whether it was for my business, whatever the case may be. I was as detailed as I possibly could be. So if like I spent 10 minutes doing something, I would write from 5 to 5:10, right? Whatever the time was. However long it took me to drive, I was writing that as well. This one is a little bit more general, just as an example, so you can kind of see like what that looks like. And then I want you guys to do this as well to really see what your day to day looks like on paper, to like physically see it. What this is going to allow you to do is see where you can fit like 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 10 minutes here, right? Where you can fit little small increments of time where you can do little small tasks like posting to social media or engaging on social media. Maybe you just have to double check a price on something before you send your client their quote. So you can go in, maybe you have 5 minutes to go double check the price on something and then send that to the client, right? Maybe you have time to respond to client texts or emails or agent texts or emails. And that way, when you get home from work, rather than doing all of that all at once and then trying to get bigger tasks done that take a little bit more time, you have all those little small tasks done and you can focus on those bigger tasks, right? So this just kind of allows you to stay on top of your time and really take full advantage of the time that you do have before, not saying that you shouldn't be waking up earlier and going to bed a little bit later, maybe if that is what works for you. But this is also a way to see, okay, what can I accomplish without changing my schedule first and then adjusting the schedule to put in that extra work, right? Just to make sure you're taking full advantage of what you already have. Because what I realized when I did this was there was a lot of time throughout the day that I didn't realize I had, that I just assumed I was super busy because I was at work, you know? But I actually realized I had a lot of time throughout the day where I could simply pull out my phone and answer a text or post something on social media or comment on something. Like it would take a couple minutes, maybe 30 seconds, depending on the task, right? But I was able to get that done so that way when I got home, I didn't have to then go and do all of those things. So then, like I said, I want you to take a look at the daily schedule you created and find some time during the day where you can work your business, either during your workday, after your workday, before your workday, however that works best for you. My my goal here was to do when I first started, I was like, all right, when I think of part-time, I think of 10 to 20 hours, right? So my goal was to get at least 2 hours a day working my business, even if those 2 hours included those broken up increments. Okay. It wasn't like two separate hours after I did, whatever I needed to do during the day. Those little increments were included in those 2 hours because that to me was going to add up to at least 10 to 20 hours a week, right? If I'm doing it 7 days a week, then that's 14 hours, right? So I'm like, okay, that's part time. That's going to start giving me, if I'm putting that time in, it's going to start giving me those results as well. I also wanted to attend when I first started at least one training a day or one training a week, depending on, what I felt like I needed help with that week. When I first started, it was everything, right? And then eventually, as I got more confident and started learning more and more and more, I didn't need to attend as many trainings. Right now, I don't need to attend as many trainings. So I'll still go in and attend whatever I feel like I need a little bit of a refresher on, whatever I feel like I want to strengthen my skills in, whatever the case may be. I'll still go and attend those, right? I definitely attend at least once uh every couple of days, okay? But you don't want to fill your schedule up with trainings either because you want to have some time where you can actually take action and not just be learning because action is what's going to give you those results, all right? You also want to make sure you have dedicated business hours. Again, my goal was 10 to 20 hours a week of working my business. Now, these 10 hours a week of focusing solely on my business included those 2 hours a day that I put into my business, right? So, normally, when I first started, I was a nanny. So, I would get home, I would leave the house around 7 and I would get home around 7 typically, sometimes 6:30. And so what I would do is I would, look at what I could do throughout the day, and then I would get home, make dinner, and then after dinner, I would have like an hour or so to work my business. That was 1 hour of my business hours where I'm solely focused on my business. So then I would do that for 5 days a week. And then that would lead up to 5 hours. And then that means 5 more hours over the weekend, which that's 2 days. You could split it up again, however it looks like for you, right? So when you break down the math, it's not as kind of daunting as it may seem when you're just looking at it. All right, now, oh my goodness, my allergies, you guys. Next thing is prep work, setting yourself up for success. It is it's huge, okay? Along with scheduling, making sure that you're ready for the next day is huge, okay? So the first couple things that I like to do is meal prep. I don't meal prep traditionally because I don't really like eating the same thing every single day for multiple days in a row, right? So what I tend to do is I like to meal prep breakfasts in the morning or for the week. I'll make a couple different options, whether it's like breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, little egg cups. I'll make a few different options so that way I can choose throughout the week. And then I also, something I've recently been doing, which I didn't put on here, is on one of my calendars at home that I have, like the little whiteboard ones. My girlfriend and I have been creating what we call our dinner menu. So we'll put like, I think there's like 10 options on there of things to make for dinner. And we'll make sure we have all the ingredients when we're doing our groceries. Like that is what we based our grocery list off. And we'll do our groceries. We'll make sure we have all the ingredients. And then we'll kind of plan out like, okay, this day, what are we feeling? Like, what do we want to do? So then I'll make sure everything's ready to go. And that night, I'll make enough food for us to both have lunches the next day, right? That's kind of what I like to do. But I've been prepping like dinner menus, right? So then I don't have to think about, okay, well, what can I make? I have this. What do I want to make? What do I want to eat? Blah, blah, blah. I don't have to really think about that. I'm just, okay, I have these options. Which one sounds the best tonight? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and start, right? I also, like I mentioned earlier, like to prep my to-do list the night before. So typically, right now, since I work 3 12-hour shifts, I'll do it while I'm still at work, like towards the end of my shift. And I'll just kind of write out like what I need to do real quick. On the days that I don't work, again, I'll do it like right before I'm done for the work day. I'll be like, all right, I don't have anything else to do, or maybe it's getting late, whatever the case may be. I'll just go ahead and use that master to-do list that I have, and I'll write my to-do list for the next day. This helps for in the morning when I'm like, all right, what do I need to get done today? I don't have to then figure it out and write my to-do list. It's already done, and I can get started on working on my business and finishing up that to-do list. I don't have to take time to think about what needs to be done. I also will, prep my dog's breakfasts every night. So I'll just put like the pebbles in there, put them in like a room secured away from them so they don't eat them. But that way it's easier for me to just feed them and get that done in the morning. It takes a couple seconds or it takes a couple seconds off of my, morning routine, but I'm not a morning person. So a couple seconds is a long time for me. So it's really, really helpful. I'll also prep like we have little doggy bags at our apartment. So I'll put the litter scooper in a little doggy bag in my cat room. And that way the litter scooper and the doggy bag is already ready to go and I can just start cleaning their litter, right? Again, it's like little things that help tremendously in the morning when I don't want to be awake anyways. But I am, right? So it helps me just kind of get things done quicker. Like I mentioned, I make extras during dinner so that way I can have lunch for the next day. And we plan out our dinner week. I forgot that we were trying to do that previously, but we do this much more consistently now. I also will prep my clothes for the next day, so that way I don't have to think, okay, in the morning, what am I going to wear? And then just like trying to grab things randomly. Just make sure that I prep it. And also my lunch box and my backpack. So I'll make sure all of that stuff is ready to go for me to literally just pick it up and leave, or at least put my food in my lunchbox that needs to be refrigerated and then leave, right? So just making my morning as easy as possible so that way I can get through my routine and I don't have to, again, stop and think about, okay, what do I need to do? I'll even prep like my coffee, like I'll take my thermos, I'll put the any sweetener I want to put in, cinnamon, whatever the case may be, and I'll leave it to the side. And then in the morning, I just have to add the coffee and the milk. So everything else is done, right? So just little things that I can think of that I can like get ready so that way I don't have to do that in the morning. All right, now automation services. These are some of my favorites. I love finding ways to make life easier. Okay, I'm all about making life easier. And some of the organization and scheduling tools that I use for that, well, I don't use Socialmonials, but I know Krista does, and this helps schedule social media content. Like you can create social media content and then schedule it across multiple platforms. Planable is the same thing. That's what I used to use, but I don't use that anymore. Both of them are paid. But what I've found is I didn't really feel the need to pay for it anymore because a lot of the social media platforms have their own scheduling systems in the platform. So, like Instagram, you can schedule, Facebook, you can schedule posts on Facebook on your phone. You can't do it on the laptop, but you can do it on your phone to your personal page. LinkedIn, you can schedule posts on there. Threads, you can schedule posts on there. I think the only one is TikTok where you can't schedule posts, at least on the TikTok app, but you can on TikTok Studio. So it's like I didn't really see the need to pay for that anymore when they have those abilities, each of them. But again, it takes a little bit more time to schedule on each individual platform. So if you're wanting to schedule across all social media, you can definitely go ahead and get a tool like that. ChatGPT, you guys, ChatGPT is absolutely amazing. I use it for everything. I use it to help me respond to prospects. I use it to help me respond to prospective clients, to my agents. I use it to help me write my social, like come up with my social media. Well, actually, yeah, come up with my social media. I use it to help me write emails. I use it to help me brainstorm. I use it for literally everything. It is so helpful. It takes so much time off of you in order to, give you time to do things that, you need to be focusing on. Now, with ChatGPT, make sure you are personalizing it, make sure you're training it, right? But then also make sure that you are like tweaking it and editing whatever it gives you so that way it sounds more like you and it's more personable, okay? Then my one of my favorite things ever is Wordboard. Let me show you what it looks like. Now, it's WordBoard for iPhone, LazyBoard for Android. This is basically a system where you have a keyboard on your phone, right? And you can add in multiple scripts here. Okay, and then at the click of a button, it will send them. Like well, it won't send them, but it'll pop them up. You don't have to adjust any like spacing or anything like that. So I use it for team building mostly and also talking to clients. So I have like my consultation request on here. I have how to work with a TA on here. I have a bunch of stuff. And then the rest of it is pretty much team building. My elevator pitch that I have on here as well. So let's say somebody DMs me and wants to request a consultation. I don't have to type out a message every single time. I just come in, click consultation request. It automatically pops up all of that with my consultation link. I can make any edits I need to make it a little bit more personal, and then I just send that. Okay. Same thing with team building, right? You have I have my calendars on here, my different script follow-ups, my invite follow-ups, my links, onboarding, everything. And then I have over here common objections. So I have scripts for common objections. So I don't have to go and copy and paste. I can just, let's say someone says that they need to speak to their spouse before they, give me an answer on if they want to become a travel agent. I just have to go to where it says need to speak to spouse number one, click on it. Ooh, whoops, I think I clicked on it twice. Yep. Click on it and it automatically pops up that response there. Again, I can make any edits based off of anything they've told me, but it makes life so much easier with this. And you can customize your scripts here, right? You can change the colors of things. You can change the colors, you can change the titles, you can do all of those great things. I absolutely love it. I was just looking at the prices for it the other day. It was like 20 bucks a month, 20 bucks a month, I think, 50 bucks for a year and 100 bucks for lifetime use. So, I mean, 100 bucks for lifetime is pretty great for me. Then we have Calendly, which you can also use. Again, I use for team building. I use for travel consultations, proposals, one-on-ones with my agents. I host what I call new agent workshop. I use it for that as well. I use it for any scheduling thing, and I have it linked so that way it goes as soon as someone schedules a meeting on my Calendly, it automatically adds to my Google Calendar. But it doesn't use any of my Google Calendar to show my Calendly availability because as you guys saw earlier, I have a ton of stuff on my Google Calendar. It doesn't always necessarily mean that I'm busy, right? It just kind of is there tentatively. Oops. All right. And then you want to create some sort of system. So you want to make sure you have your own booking process system, right? That makes the most sense to you. Sarah does have a booking basics on a training on her YouTube. So definitely go check that out. But systems help your business run smoothly and they help you gain confidence in yourself. You come off more professional when you know what you are doing. So some system examples are the Start Me, right? That is our onboarding system. So you guys all went through the Start Me to get started. We also have client questionnaires to help you qualify clients. That's a system as well. Calendly is a system for scheduling, right? Then you have itinerary and proposal systems like Travefy, Traveljoy, Turn to help you create itineraries, to help you um, give them to clients, right? To help you keep track of client information. These are all CRM systems. These are all examples of things that can help you with your business, right? And then the best part is importance of self-care. Now, it's very easy to, when you're looking at that daily schedule, right, to fill all of that time up with business stuff or work stuff or life, right, or family, whatever the case may be. Because, we just want, our business to go, we want to be successful. So you work hard, you want your family to be happy. So you make sure you spend time with them, all these different things, right? But in order to be successful and be able to take care of other people, you need to take care of yourself as well. Okay. And I say this as someone who also struggles with that as a reminder to myself and as a reminder to you. Okay. It is okay to take time for yourself. A lot of times people will think, well, I can't be selfish. I need to do this. No, taking time for yourself is not selfish. It is important. Okay. It should be part of your daily routine because you need to make sure that your cup is full in order to fill others, right? So we give so much of ourselves to others and we need to be fueled by both physically and mentally. If we are in balance, it helps us in all of our interactions, okay? And this business is a people business, right? You are giving to others constantly in this business, whether you're working the both sides, team building and booking travel, or just booking travel, you are giving yourself to your clients, to your agents, whatever the case may be. So you need to make sure that your cup is full in order to provide the service that you're wanting, right? It's also easy to let the negativity creep in and take over. If you make a mistake or you feel like you're struggling, it is okay. Okay. Don't dwell on it. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and then move on. Okay. Maybe talk it out with your mentor, learn from or see what you can learn and what you can change for the next time. But mistakes happen. All right. We're human. As long as you are acknowledging it, owning up to it, and then learning how to move on and make yourself better, there's no reason to dwell on mistakes. Okay, we've all made mistakes, especially in our business, especially when we're new. So don't dwell on them, okay? Some fun self-care ideas are reading a fun book. Like I specify fun because I meant like non-business, right? So non-business related. Go for a walk, stretch, take a bath or a shower, cook or order your favorite food, movie night, sleep. Okay, sleep is important. All right. Do something fun, try something new, exercise as well. Something I'm doing today actually is going to a Pilates class for my first time, right? So I'm trying something new and I'm exercising at one time. That is taking care of yourself, right? Even if it's not fun all the time, okay? Thank you guys. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Hi, this is Chandra.
Hi.
Hey, just a question as far as my biggest problem in working my travel agency is the burnout from my full-time job
Mm-hmm.
and trying to find work-life balance just with my full-time job and working my travel agency. How did you ever experience the burnout from your full-time job where it impacted your travel agency business? Like what was that
Yeah.
experience? How did you cope with that?
Yeah. So let me give a little bit of background of what I've been doing. So when
Mhm.
I first started for the first about year and a half, closer to 2 years, I was a nanny for a 4-year-old and a 4-month old when I first started. By the time I left, they were 5 and almost 2. So that in itself is a lot. I now work with adults with autism and other special needs. So I'm working, my client needs 24/7 care. I'm
Mhm.
with him 3 days a week, 12 hours a day. And then we have other coaches who are with him the other time, right? So there is a lot of, giving to others in those two jobs that I'm
Mhm.
working or that I was working and that I'm working now. And so I will often find myself exhausted
Mhm.
to be frank,
Mhm.
right? But what I have found is one, you need to take that time to rest when you are feeling like just done. You need to rest. You need to give your brain a break. I love brain breaks. So something I found is like a brain break. Maybe I'm not sleeping, but I'm also not thinking, right? I'm doing things to like let my brain shut off for a little bit and just kind of be. And so I found when I put those into practice more consistently, I wasn't as burned out. Also,
Mhm.
making sure I was sleeping. So I started taking things to help me sleep because I also struggle
Mhm.
with insomnia. So
Mhm.
making sure I was sleeping was also something that's really important. When I'm not sleeping well, then I have way less energy. My brain just doesn't work. I'll be like,
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm reading. I see letters on the screen, but the words are not forming. Like it just doesn't, it's not functioning, right?
Mhm.
So making sure, really focusing on the self-care and making sure you are taking care of yourself and giving yourself breaks and giving yourself grace on those days that are a little bit harder and you're feeling a little bit more tired, let yourself rest then and
Mhm.
then get back to it. Like when I was talking about, the daily schedule and finding the time to work, it's all tentative based off of what's going on, right?
Mhm.
With life, we have to adjust. So if there are days where you're just you're done. You're tapping out,
Mhm.
right? Allow
Mhm.
yourself to tap out and rest because if you're not resting, that's when that burnout happens.
Mhm. Okay.
And as hard as it is, don't allow yourself to feel guilty for resting.
Mhm.
Then that's not resting.
Yeah.
This is all that is straight from my therapist. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I had just one more question.
yeah,
So, how do you handle client questions and escalations, trying to handle client needs while you're working your full time job during those hours?
I don't.
You don't?
No, not unless it's like an emergency and they're
Mm-hmm.
calling. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
tell them I work a different job. I do this part-time. These are the times I am available.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an emergency while you are traveling, other than that, like please call me. Other than that, these are the times that I am available in order to get back to you, in order to, text, answer any questions, send any emails, have any meetings, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have an emergency while you are traveling. Other than that, those are my available times. And so
Okay.
that like sets the expectation for them. So then they're like, oh, okay. I tell them you can text me if you have
Mm-hmm.
like a question. I'd rather you text me than forget it. I tell my
Mm-hmm.
agents that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but these are the times I'm going to be able to respond.
Mm-hmm.
During those times, I respond very promptly. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
making sure, like, okay, even if
Right.
I'm a little tired, I'll be like, okay, let me make sure I get back to just answer this text or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like one of the days where you're tapped out. And then the
Right.
next day I'll be like, hey, sorry, yesterday was a long day, but here's the answer, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just very transparent with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope this was helpful. I will be getting this recording up and posting it in the Facebook group as soon as it's done, processing. And I look forward to seeing you guys in future trainings. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a
Of
great day.
course, you too.